Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Impact Marketing Summit. I brought together some of the world's top marketing experts to share with you their new age marketing strategies and techniques that would literally change the way you perceive and implement marketing in your day-to-day business. My name is Vamsi Pannala, and right now I'm delighted to be speaking with David Waldy. David is a business strategist and mindset coach who partners with purpose-driven entrepreneurs and business leaders to help them increase their conversions, get out of their own way, and put in the work required to see their dreams realized. He believes that the level of success we achieve in life and business is directly proportionate to our commitment to our own personal development and the process of becoming. David has been contracted to work alongside industry leaders like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, where he helps teach and train in workshops and masterminds for business leaders across the globe. He believes untapped potential lies inside every person and seeks to help others develop the confidence, skills, and habits they need to become who they have been called to be. David, welcome to the summit.
Vamsi, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. I appreciate you for having me. Thank you.
Pleasure.
So what I want to talk today about, we're going to be talking about something. Vamsi, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to be talking about a little thing in marketing, and hopefully everyone can see my screen. We're going to be talking about modeling success in marketing, why most people fail. Okay. So what I want to do today is this message is something that can be applied not just to marketing. It can be applied to sales. It can be applied to relationships. It can be applied to finance. It can be applied to a number of different things, but we're going to try and approach it today through the lens specifically of marketing. So I want us to all be approaching from the same perspective. So in modeling success in marketing, I want to start off with a little story, right? When most of us were growing up, we heard some variation of the following. There's a cute little picture of young David Waldy, my suspenders. But growing up, I grew up in the middle of the United States in farmland country. It's Kansas, the state of Kansas. And I grew up probably hearing a lot of similar things to most of you guys watching this. If you work hard enough, you'll succeed. If you go to the right school, you'll succeed. If you learn enough, you'll succeed. And some of you, maybe you've even heard, if you get lucky, you'll succeed, right? So we grow up with this mindset or this belief system, this belief system that if we do the right things, we will succeed. Working harder, learning the right things, getting lucky, or doing more does not guarantee success. Mm-hmm. In fact, this can actually keep you from succeeding. We have been sold a lie, collectively as marketers, as salespeople, as individuals that are in the pursuit of success. We have been sold a lie.
Okay.
Learn this new strategy. Get my secret method. Discover the hidden tactic. New discovery reveals surprise technique. Have you guys ever heard any of these before in marketing messaging?
Yeah.
Every single strategy, technique, method, tactic, or new discovery in sales and marketing will fail you. Do I have your attention yet? Unless you understand how modeling works. And no, we're not talking about this kind of modeling. This is not runway modeling or anything like that. What we're talking about is when most people set out to learn a new skill or become more knowledgeable in their expertise, they ask the wrong first question. They ask, what do I need to do to succeed? You guys ever asked that question before? What do I need to do to be successful in marketing? What do I need to do to be successful in my business and et cetera? What do I need to do to get better at sales? What do I need to do to grow my business? What do I need to do to get more engagement? What do I need to do to find more clients? Now, these are all variations of the same question.
Yeah.
What do I need to do to fix what's not working? Most of us, that's the first thing is like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And that is, again, the wrong first question. It's not that it's the wrong question, it's the wrong first question. Mm-hmm. But it's not the right first question to ask. The right first question to ask is, who do I need to become? Unfortunately, people spend weeks, months, and I've seen even years hopelessly spinning their wheels, trying to do everything that they can to succeed. They work harder and harder, failing to recognize that doing without becoming will not bring success.
Mm-hmm.
Most people look at the success of others and say, how did you do that, right? Maybe you guys have seen the pictures of the fat stacks of cash, or the happy couple that was been married for 70 years and they die in each other's arms, or you see this amazing stock portfolio from Wall Street, or the mansion, or the beach house, the Lamborghini, Ferrari, Porsche. You see those things and you see this version of success. And the typical question that people ask is, oh my goodness, how did you do that? And then the successful person proceeds to tell them what they did to achieve their success. Mm-hmm. And here's what happens. You and I and the rest of the world, we implement whatever it is they say to do. We implement their strategy, their method, their technique, or their tactic, and crickets.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. We don't see momentum. We try and do everything that they said to do, and we do it all correctly, but nothing happens. Or worse, what can often happen is you have an immediate win, and you think you found the magic pill. It's kind of like you invest in a stock, and then overnight it just shoots up. You're like, oh, I understand the stock market. I'm going to make millions, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't last. And a few days, weeks, or months later, you're left scratching your head, looking for something new. Again, what's the new technique I need to learn? What's the new strategy? What's the new method, right? People get stuck in this cycle of doing it again and again and again. Today, we're going to break that cycle forever. Tony Robbins, one of my mentors, I have had the unique opportunity to do some work for Tony and Dean and helping them with their masterminds, workshops, and things like that. One thing that Tony says constantly is success leaves clues, right? And if we think about clues are these abstract things that don't fully make sense, but they give us enough information to intrigue us and help us go one step further, right? A clue is leading usually to another clue and another clue and another clue, but you don't have the full picture. And so that's what happens when we see someone successful, is we don't have the full picture. And what I want to do is I want to help clarify that so that you can break the cycle as you are trying to model success from the people that you are following. So our steps to modeling success, I made this super simple. Go ahead and grab a piece of paper if you haven't already and write this down. This is an acronym that I want you to use. Acronym is very simple. It's empathy, okay? EMPATHY. And many of you are familiar with the term empathy, and we all have kind of a different understanding of it. But ultimately, right, it's more important for you to understand the person you are seeking to model than it is to understand what they did to become successful. What do I mean by that? When you're looking at someone that is teaching sales or marketing or business or all these strategies, techniques, methods, etc., what most people do is, again, they go back to that question, well, tell me what to do. Tell me what you did. Like, I want to know what to do so I can implement and execute the same way that you did. But the problem is you get so focused and tunnel vision on the technique, on the strategy, on the method, on the tactic, on all of those little things that you miss the most important part. The most important part is to understand the person who is teaching you. Because the success that they have had in implementing that strategy, that technique, that method, that tactic, is predicated on a foundation of who that person is. You can take the same technique and give it to 14 different people, and all of them are going to be very, very different and have very, very different results. And people often ask, well, why is that? The reason is because they're not focused on understanding the person who has shared the knowledge. So if you've got, for example, an influencer, someone you're following, someone that you are learning from, right? Maybe a coach or mentor, something like that. And you're like, I'm so frustrated. I'm doing everything you're telling me to do. If you don't follow these 7 steps for modeling success, you will struggle and you will not be able to succeed in trying to reproduce the same results that they are getting with the same tactic, the same strategy, the same technique.
Yeah.
So number 1, I'm going to just read through the list and then we'll jump into number 1. So number 1, we have expectations. 2, we have motivations, proximity, application, time, habits, and you. Okay? So let's start with this acronym, empathy. Seek first to understand so you can then become who you need to be. This is about becoming the version of you need to be, so that when you do the right things and you find out what someone else did, you are already the person you need to be so you can succeed with the actual tactics, strategies, techniques, etc. To get from where you are to where you want to go, you must have a plan. So each of the letters in empathy is going to correlate to one of these numbers. So number 1, we have roadmap. Number 2, we have fuel. Number 3, passengers. Number 4, speed steering. Number 5, length of the trip. Number 6 is your driving habits. And number 7 is grabbing the wheel. And I'm going to outline these step by step. So if you guys are taking notes, you can go ahead and write these down, but I'm going to go back through each of them so in case you miss it. But you've got to start with a plan, right? Number 1, our expectations. This is the E in empathy, expectations. You must have a clear understanding of the expectations before you begin. Your expectations and the expectations of the person you are modeling, the person you're learning from. So in a very simple example, say someone is selling their secret sauce for their marketing strategy. Let's just pretend that it's lead generation. And they say, hey, I've got this awesome strategy for lead generation. I produce these results. It's been amazing. You're going to enter into that relationship by purchasing their product or service or learning from them. But you have to have the right expectations. How does this work? Where do I need to go? How long does it take? What variables are there? There are a ton of factors that we don't often take inventory of when we are trying to learn from someone else, when we're trying to model their success. We oftentimes don't understand all of the background information and what variables were in play, namely their existing network, their following on social media, the size of their email list, their capital, how much money they have to spend on different things like automation or a team, right? There's a number of variables that you can't see. So when someone says, hey, I used this lead generation strategy to produce these results, you have to stop and you have to check your expectations with the expectations of that individual and what they actually did. This is your roadmap. This information is the roadmap you need to carry with you so you know where you're going. Where is it that I'm trying to get by implementing this tactic, strategy, technique, etc.? Number 2 are motivations. You must understand, this is the M in empathy, sorry. So you must understand what motivates and drives the person you are modeling. If you don't understand that person's motivations, how they see themselves, how they see the world, how they see business, and how they see their clients, and you don't have a deep, intimate understanding of what the driving force is for that individual, you will not be able to replicate their level of success. These are the beliefs, many of which we must adopt as our own from the person we are looking to model. They're the fuel to carry you from where you are to where you want to go. Without fuel, you cannot take a vehicle from where it is to where you want to go. There has to be that ignition and that for perpetuity. You have to understand that the person you are seeking to model, again, if you're looking at someone who's succeeding in marketing or sales or whatever, business, finance, relationships, can be applied to anything. You need to understand how that person feels about themselves, how they see the world, how they see business, how they see clients, right?
Yep.
Number 3 is proximity. This is the P in empathy. You must understand the surroundings of the person you're wanting to model. Get as close as possible to this person if you want to maximize your results. The most intimate way, or the best way that you can maximize your results is deep mentorship and coaching, is working hand in hand with that individual so you can understand everything that's possible to understand about them and how all these things we're going through. That is the best way to maximize. But if you can't, it's okay. You're just going to have to be more intentional about seeking to understand. Remember, this is empathy. You've got to seek to understand. Who do they follow? Who are their mentors? Who are their friends? Who influences them? Where did they learn? From whom did they learn? If you can start to understand that, say this individual follows this person and this person and this person, and they love these books by this author, and they listen to these podcasts, and they have, et cetera, and you start to get a better understanding of who they follow and the influences in their life, you're going to be able to make the pivot or the shift necessary to change everything around you as far as your surroundings. It's been said that you are the average of the 5 people closest to you. So in order to succeed in modeling and to achieve the same level of success, that might mean that you need to check who you're following, who your friends are, what influences are in your life, and who you are learning from. That can be a shift or a pivot that is very uncomfortable, but you've got to recognize these things are the passengers on the journey. They're the people in the car with you. They can either make or break your success along the journey. They're either going to be the people cheering you on, encouraging you, motivating you, inspiring you, and believing you, or they're going to question everything you do and second guess you and cause you to doubt yourself and just reinforce all the limiting beliefs that you already have. So if you can look at the person you're trying to model and you can understand those things about them and change that in your own life, it's going to increase your ability to succeed.
Sure.
Number 4 is application. You must understand how to apply the same principles as the person you're modeling. I think I should say, why do I need to know this? How do I apply this? What detours were there? And what did you learn along the way? Yeah. These are your speed and steering. So if you imagine driving a car, right? We had our roadmap. We put fuel in it. We know who's coming with us. Now we are looking at how fast we need to go, where we need to turn, and what needs to happen along the way. As far as marketing is concerned, this is going to be very, very simple. If you strip down and you look at the actual process, how the individual is applying this in their business. Again, let's use our lead generation example. If you have someone that says, hey, this strategy has helped me in lead generation, you need to understand how they've applied it. Are they doing it every single day? Is this something they've automated? Is this something they're having managed for them? All of those little details and how they're applying it is relevant so you can actually achieve the same results. You also want to know what didn't work or where they had to shift. What were those detours? You can say, hey, Vampsy, when you were doing this, what did you come across that you had to get around? What did you have to navigate? What did you learn along the way? And what do I need to know to actually apply this for myself? What do I need to know to succeed in this? Yeah. How fast do I need to go? Because most people, they just look at the technique, strategy, or the method, and they say, cool, I know what I need to do, but they don't know how often to do it. They don't know how much. They don't know how little. They don't know how it's implemented. And so knowing the speed and the steering is going to allow you to follow the same result and get where you want to go. Number 5 is time. You must understand how long the process took as well as how long it took them to prepare. What did they have before they started? What did they know before they started? What advantages or disadvantages did they have? And how long did it take them? One thing that is really frustrating that I see so many people do is they say, hey, I did such and such in 30 days, right? Or in 90 days or 60 days. And you see this all the time. And I get it. I understand it, through the lens of marketing. But what you don't see is that person who said, I achieved these results in 30 days, for the last 3 years, they've been curating a list. For the last year and a half, they've been nurturing an audience and never made an offer. And this is their first one, right? You don't see all their ad spend. You don't see their production cost. You don't see the cost for their team, their overhead. You don't see their profit and loss statement. You don't see their actual gross revenue versus their net profit. You don't see any of those things. And so you've got to know that information and recognize that relative to where you are and where they were when they started, that's going to affect the length of time.
Yeah.
Just because someone says you can achieve this result in a certain period of time, you need to first take inventory of, where are you and where were they?
Yeah.
And if those are comparable, you can understand the timeline should be pretty similar. But if you've got someone who's been doing something for 50 years and they say, hey, I just did this launch and we did $1 million, and then you try and implement that strategy or technique, guess what? It's not going to work. It's not going to work. And so this will help you create the timeline and understand the length of the journey, to be realistic, to take that pressure off, to know what you need to do consistently and gauge your progress along the way. Number 6 is habits. This is one of the most important ones. You must understand the daily habits, routines, and practices of the person you're wanting to model. Ask yourself, how is this person's life different than mine?
Mm-hmm.
What habits do they practice daily that I don't? What routines do they have? When do they wake up? When do they go to bed? What are they doing with their downtime? What's their family dynamic look like? How much time do they spend reading? How much time do they spend learning? How much time do they spend watching television, right? What are the foods that they eat? How much exercise do they have? These are all key elements that tie into our ability to succeed with any technique, any strategy, any method. But if you have a being, right? So for example, you can take one person, let's use exercise as an example. You can take one person and another person and then do the same thing and they're going to get very, very different results. And how they are as an individual walking up to that line and say, hey, we're going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. One person who has terrible habits and another person who has really good habits, they're going to achieve very different results, even if they do the same thing. Because one of those people might weigh 300 pounds and the other person might weigh 120 pounds. They're going to get different results. And you'll see that the person that actually is maybe in shape and has really good habits and does everything right, they don't actually lose as much weight as the person that weighed 300 pounds. And so the person who weighs 120 feels like they're failing or they're struggling. Like, well, why am I not losing as much weight as this person over here? Mm-hmm. This person lost 30 pounds in 30 days. I've only lost 5.
Yeah.
You've got to understand that the habits of the individual you're wanting to model, who they are and who they've become. This is going back to, again, who you need to become in your day-to-day, how you spend your time, how you are organized, what you do for your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your relational health, your nutrition. All of these things are dynamics that tie into all these little pieces that we don't think are relevant.
Yeah.
How does my nutrition have anything to do with marketing strategy? That's why you're failing, is you don't understand the connection between the two, because it ties into your overall opinion of yourself and how you see the world and how you see your clients, how you see leads, how you see prospects, how you see the industry as a whole. It does affect. So these are the driving habits that have enabled the individual to succeed that you're wanting to model.
Yeah.
And our last one, and we're wrapping up here soon, Vamsi, for you, so is you. Mm-hmm. You must understand how that person sees their life and understand how they feel about themselves. This person that you're wanting to model, that you're wanting to learn what they've done that's been successful, how do they carry themselves? How do they feel about themselves? How do they discipline themselves? And how do they grow themselves? Ultimately, this comes down to getting an understanding of how that person views themselves. The love that they have for who they are and who they were created to be and what is inside of their heart and how they see themselves. And it affects everything about their life. And so for you, that's going to be really unique. It's going to be a challenge if you don't love yourself to go through this process. It's very, very uncomfortable. But if you start to recognize that this person, wow, they carry themselves with much more confidence. They seem much more certain. They feel, I see that they've got these disciplines. I can see that they're, generally happy about life. They've got a good attitude. They're positive. They're uplifting. They're encouraging. I can see that they're into personal development, et cetera, et cetera. You can recognize and see that they care about themselves. You have to do the same thing for you. How you see yourself will make or break your ability to succeed. If you don't grab the wheel and see yourself the way that they see themselves, you will not be able to effectively model their success.
Yeah.
So just as a quick overview of what we've just gone through, this is almost our last slide. So steps to modeling success. So I just did some lines so you guys can write these down if any of you are taking notes. So our expectations, that's the roadmap. Framing it from the very beginning, this is where I am. This is who I need to become. This is where I'm going. Number 2 is your motivations. What fuels you every single day? What gets you out of bed? What fires you up? What is exciting about this? And understanding it for the person you're trying to model. Proximity, getting as close as possible to that individual and understanding who is in proximity to them, who's around them, who influences them, who are their friends, who are they learning from. Those are your passengers. These are the people that you are going to carry with you on the journey. They're going to be in the car with you along the path. Number 4 is application. Is how do you actually apply these things? How fast do you need to go? How slow do you need to go? Where do you need to implement? Where do you need to turn? Where do you need to shift? Where do you need to pivot? Where do you need to detour? Number 5 is time, is understanding and being realistic with your time frame relative to where you are and where they were when they started. And understanding that just because someone is sharing a tactic, strategy, or technique, if they've been at something for years, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to take you years, but you have to make sure that you're being realistic with the time frame relative to where you are in the journey. Otherwise, you're going to get frustrated and overwhelmed, and you're just going to give up and move on to something new. And you're never going to dig deep enough to actually get to the goal. Number 6 is habits. Those are your daily routines, the things that you do that seem inconsequential, that for most people are on a subconscious level. We just do them. We get out of bed. We might snooze the alarm. We rush to work. We have a granola bar on the way. We go to McDonald's for lunch. You just go through not realizing your actual daily habits. And if you want to succeed, you need to change your habits in accordance with the version of you that you want to be. And if you're modeling someone and you see success in someone else's life, the quickest way to change that is to look at their habits and to adopt them for yourself. The last part is you. Grabbing the wheel. This is your life. You're in control. You get to decide. But the biggest thing that is going to make or break your success and your ability to achieve the results you want to achieve is how you see yourself. Is believing in yourself that you have the ability and capability to do anything that's inside of your heart. And if someone else has done it, you can do it too. I'll share just a really quick story here at the end. Many of you have heard of Roger Bannister. The big takeaway here is you must learn how to become who you need to be before you can properly do what you need to do. You've got to become before you can find out what to do. And in the process of becoming who you need to become, what you need to do becomes clear. You cannot model the techniques, strategies, tactics, or methods of another person and hope to succeed in the same way unless you also model their beliefs, habits, routines, and attitudes. Roger Bannister was the first person to break the 4-minute mile. Many of you are probably familiar with him. You've heard of him. I believe it's the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken. I could be super off around the date. But Roger Bannister was this person who decided that despite what everyone else said, despite what he had grown up conditioned by and his background and his experiences and the limitations and beliefs and all the things that the world said was possible, he believed in himself enough. And he visualized the version of him he wanted to become. And he, in that process of becoming who he needed to become, he figured out what he needed to do, how much he had to run, how much he had to practice, how much work he had to put in, what he needed to do. But in the process of becoming, he broke that 4-minute mile and he proved possible what everyone else thought was impossible. If you've seen success in someone else's life, let that be evidence that you can do it too. Let that be evidence that you have the capacity, ability to do the same thing, but it's going to require you to become different than what you are right now.
Yeah.
And when modeling success, you must seek first to understand the person you are modeling, not just what they do.
David, I think it's been almost close to a year that I've been following you. If Tony Robbins is a synonym for a life coach, I mean, if in a rapid fire, if someone asks life coach, and my answer would be Tony Robbins. And if someone asks me empathy, and it will be David, right?
Thank you.
Ever since I know you, I think you have now become a synonym for empathy. Your group starts with empathy. Your info product starts with empathy, and I was probably not expecting anything different, anything other than empathy to be covered as a part of this presentation. So thank you so much for those words of wisdom, and I truly appreciate that you have taken out time and to be on the summit. I know you have been juggling with a lot of stuff, and before I let you go, I have one last question, if I have your permission to put that. So,
absolutely.
I know you. I just want to know. I think a lot of people who do follow you in the space that you are working right now, they also want to understand how you got into working with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi in the KBB. So would you be able to share that experience, and what are you up to now in that space?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll try and keep it brief, but there was a couple of years ago, I was reading a book called Millionaire Success Habits by Dean Graziosi, and I was sitting on my couch, and I remember getting to the section that was 7 levels deep. And it's helping uncover your deepest why, like why you're here and why you wake up every single day. And I ended up in the arms of my wife, bawling my eyes out on the couch. It was one of the first times that I really tapped into why I'm here and what I'm called to do and who I want to be. And in that process, I started discovering more and more. I'd always heard about Tony Robbins. I'd read some of his books, but there came a point where I was just writing down some goals, and I said, one day, I believe that I'm going to be able to be on stage with Tony Robbins. And I started visualizing that, and I have it written down. And I was talking with one of my coaches and mentors, and it was one of those moments was just exciting. I feel like, the reason that I've been placed here is to help people to discover belief in themselves and to fall in love with themselves and who they've been created to be, and enjoy the journey and love what they do and who they get to serve, and find more fulfillment and happiness and joy in this life. And I think so many people misunderstand that the fulfillment and success we often seek is predicated on our ability to serve other people. We're very selfish beings. All of us are. We're very selfish. But when we seek to serve other people, what we find is that in giving our life away, we find the life that we've been looking for all along. And so in doing that, started visualizing. And about 6 months later, I got an email. I had joined the Knowledge Broker Blueprint, which is Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, one of their courses. And I got an email that there was an open application to join their speaking and training team. And so I submitted the application, went through a very lengthy process, several months, had to submit about 12 videos. It was a very intensive process. During that time, I had some difficulty at work, betrayal, just income cut, and just we don't have time to go into that story too much. But on the day that I submitted my notice at my previous job, I was walking to my truck, and I got into my truck, and there was a ping on my phone. I opened up my phone, and it was an email from Tony and Dean, and it said, "David, we would love to have you as a part of our speaking and training team." And I just broke down. I was, because it was terrifying. Single income family. I got a baby on the way, one baby at home with my wife. And I had just said, I'm quitting my job and going all in on building my business. That same day, I got that email, and it has been an incredible opportunity. Now I have the privilege of being able to pour into the lives of of people across the globe. We help facilitate workshops and masterminds for Tony and Dean through the Knowledge Broker Blueprint, and equipping entrepreneurs with the sales and marketing strategies they need to take their expertise into the online space and be able to share their knowledge with the world through the use of masterminds. And it's a powerful experience. We help people launch businesses in like 2 or 3 days. And it's intensive, but it's amazing. And I love getting to see people's lives transformed as they take what's inside of their heart and impact the world around them and create the income that they've been looking for in their life and in their business.
Awesome, David. I think it's a pleasure to have you on my summit. I'm sure people watching it right now, they'll be more grateful to what they have and appreciate what they want to become in life. And the definition to empathy that you have broken down in your presentation, I'm sure it's going to give a lot of value to people, and certainly would help them change their lives and look at it from a different dimension post this, and the moment they start applying this in their life and business.
I hope so. And Vamsi, thank you again. It's been an honor to be here. I appreciate you asking me to be here. And thank you.
Thank you so much, David.